In the middle of a hot July, the people of Caravaca were stunned when the streets suddenly turned white. It wasn't snow, it was hail. An unusual storm hit the northwestern region of Murcia, transforming the town into a winter scene in the middle of summer. What happened, and what were the consequences? In less than an hour, more than 100 liters of water per square meter fell on Caravaca, accompanied by dense hail. Ping-pong-sized hailstones rained down relentlessly, leaving residents barely time to take cover in panic. A gloomy sky, howling wind, and the sound of rocks hitting corrugated iron roofs echoed throughout the streets. Fifteen 20-centimeter thick hail covered the roads, blocking the drainage. Caravaca was covered in unprecedented ice. Cars stalled and the slippery ice residents watched helplessly as their property was flooded with cold water. Emergency crews had to clear the ice as if they were shoveling snow in the middle of winter. The Spanish meteorological agency AEMET immediately issued an orange alert for the northwestern region of Murcia. 20 people were forced to evacuate because 2 ancient buildings were at risk of collapsing due to water seepage and falling rocks. A summer night suddenly turned into a race to escape between water, rocks, and time. By the next morning, more than 130 emergency incidents had been reported. 13 vehicles were stuck, 27 had to be pumped out, and 35 roadblocks were blocking the road. Many vehicles had broken windows, dented hoods, and roofs blown off or collapsed. A single storm, but left behind serious chain reactions. Many roads in Caravaca, Moratala, Kalispara, and Archivell were flooded, covered with ice causing traffic jams and slippery conditions. Buses and cars could not pass. Authorities were forced to temporarily close the roads to allow for cleanup while residents used shovels to remove ice from their doors. The hailstorms did not just hit homes. Some peach and almond orchards suffered minor damage, but with the wheat harvest now over, agricultural damage was limited. While no lives were lost, the shock of nature left the region devastated. On social media, images of white roads, damaged cars, and people shoveling ice like snow have left netizens stunned. No one expected a hot, sunny town to be hit by a hailstorm as cold as the north. Residents described a scene not seen in decades. According to meteorologists, hailstorms in the middle of summer in Spain will no longer be a rare occurrence. The extreme weather from scorching sunshine to hailstorms is a clear sign of climate change. And Caravaca is just one of many warning signs. Spain is used to hot weather, but now it is faced with unexpected hail and thunderstorms. This poses a new challenge for urban disaster prevention and warning. Caravaca 24/7 will no longer be a normal day. It will be a warning sign for the entire Iberian Peninsula.
Oito. Tots trinxats, xaval. 8. Però clar, no és el vidre només. Tots bunyegats. Tots, però tots, clar.
De loco, tío. ¡Yes! ¡Yes! ¡Hostia! ¿De quién es el coche ese?
Les taules de quiròfan.
A terrifying flash flood engulfed southern Spain. Albacete and Murcia were the hardest hit areas. Water surged rapidly, sweeping away cars, homes, and destroying infrastructure. Residents fled in panic as streets turned into raging rivers. The apocalyptic scene unfolded right in the middle of the Western European summer.
¿Quién está ahí? Joana. Papá. Papá, que se baje el coche. Todos caminan para abajo. Mira.
In Tarazona de la Mancha, Albacete province, floodwaters slammed down like a tsunami. Cameras captured the moment cars were swept off the roads. Many homes were flooded within minutes, leaving no time to evacuate. Residents stood helpless on rooftops, watching their belongings wash away. A state of emergency was declared across the entire region.
Ay, Dios mío, me muero. Ay, quiero continuar.
In Almansa, floodwaters surged into neighborhoods at terrifying speed. Helen and Tobara were cut off, with major roads completely paralyzed. Water reached window height, collapsing walls and eroding foundations. Economic losses are being described as unprecedented. Daily life came to a total standstill for local residents. The massive floods overwhelmed the drainage infrastructure. Sewers backed up, sending filthy water into homes and hospitals. Numerous public buildings were submerged under nearly a meter of water. A foul stench filled the air, posing serious health risks. Authorities admitted they hadn't anticipated the disaster's severity.
Ay, qué desastre. Invita mantenito. Ay,
Sí,
qué
pues
desastre.
va en la L.
¡Ay, mira cómo se la andú! Ay, hijo.
Rural outskirts and farmlands were also swallowed by floodwaters. Many farmers were trapped while working in the fields. Tractors, plows, and farming equipment were swept away or severely damaged. A whole year of labor, gone in just 1 hour, a farmer wept. The devastation stretched from city centers to the countryside. CPI firefighters were urgently deployed to heavily flooded areas. They used inflatable boats and ropes to reach stranded homes. Many residents were rescued from second floors and rooftops. With the rain still falling, rescuers couldn't afford to rest. "There's no time left to wait," said one firefighter.
Mira, Marcela, el crédito, madre mía, esto no da tiempo a sacarlo.
Many interprovincial roads in Murcia and Albacete were completely cut off. Cars stalled and were stranded in muddy, red floodwaters. Road traffic was virtually impossible for several hours. Helicopters were deployed to monitor the situation from above. Some areas became totally isolated and inaccessible.
Se están llevando el coche. La madre.
The AMET Weather Agency issued an orange alert for Albacete from noon on the 25th of July. All outdoor activities were immediately suspended. Parks, swimming pools, cultural centers, and schools were closed. Summer festivals were abruptly canceled mid-event. The city entered a state of emergency lockdown.
So that is our tiny little river now.
Hundreds of houses were submerged in water from 50 centimeter to over 1 meter. Schools, hospitals, and warehouses suffered the same fate. Walls peeled off, and electronic equipment was severely damaged. Initial estimates: tens of millions of euros in damage in Albacete alone. A potential local financial crisis is now looming.
La puerta de la bodega se ha abierto de la presión del agua y está entrando toda el agua en la bodega. Madre mía.
Heavy rain and flooding wiped out 100% of grapes, olives, and almonds in some areas. Trees were uprooted, and farmland was severely eroded and washed away. Storage warehouses were flooded, destroying all stored agricultural products. Farmers in the Murcia region now face the risk of mass bankruptcy. No harvest left, only tears and mud remain. Hundreds of videos captured floodwaters rushing through homes. Some trapped individuals sent out SOS messages via TikTok and Instagram. "We can't get out. The water is up to our waists," one desperate post read. Hashtags number Inundaciones Albacete and number SOS Murcia quickly went viral. Online communities mobilized to accelerate rescue efforts.
Mira el coche de casa, mira dentro de casa. ¿Lo ves?
Residents of Murcia shudder at the mention of the historic 2019 floods. A nightmare thought to be behind them is now repeating with greater fury. This time, scenes are described as an unprecedented modern disaster. Adults panicked while children cried, unable to grasp what was happening. Old wounds have yet to heal, and new pain is already here.
Es que no sé com fer-ho per arribar a ella. És que no sé com fer-ho. Perquè si arribo jo i també s'emporta la lia, saps? I mira com va tota l'aigua, tio. Estos cosas s'han portat.
Emergency shelters stayed open all night to welcome evacuees. Blankets, clean water, and emergency food were distributed nonstop. Volunteers, nurses, and the Red Cross worked tirelessly. "We may lose our homes, but not our humanity," one resident said. Amid the raging floods, kindness still shines.
Coche inundado. Esperando. Madre de Dios.
Mira cómo soy en mi casa, los cositos ahí.
Local authorities quickly announced relief packages. The Spanish government promised emergency aid for the hardest-hit areas. Infrastructure recovery plans are being drafted in detail. "No one will be left behind," declared a Murcia official. But real action is what people are still waiting for. As Spain battles floods, many parts of Europe are also facing torrential rains. Climate change is driving more frequent and intense extreme weather events. Albacete and Murcia are not exceptions. They are warnings of something bigger. Are nations truly prepared for a stormy future? The answer may still be drowning in the raging floodwaters.
La pica se la carga también.
llena de agua.
Y aquí está el paso, voy a desconectar esto. Zaberte, jatuaz jaku jauziko, ez? Oskerrak ez dutela ipinit ondoa. Hau da, benetan, impresionantea. Hau da, impresionantea.
Heavy rains struck the town of La Durgel in Catalonia, Spain. The storm was accompanied by a sudden hailstorm. Streets quickly filled with water and hailstones. The weather event disrupted normal activity across the area. Residents reported intense rainfall within a short period. The combination of heavy water flow and hail created dangerous conditions. Cars and pedestrians struggled to move through flooded roads. Local authorities monitored the situation closely. Images shared on social media showed streets turning into rivers. Piles of hail accumulated in several low-lying areas. Flooded intersections made driving extremely difficult. Many people chose to remain indoors for safety. Shops and businesses were affected by the flooding. Water entered some ground-level establishments. Owners worked quickly to prevent further damage. Cleanup efforts began as soon as the storm passed. Public services moved to contain the impact. Emergency crews worked to clear blocked drains. The hail added extra challenges to the response. Authorities prioritized restoring safe conditions on the streets. Local residents described the storm as sudden and intense. Many were surprised by the speed of the flooding. Hailstones covered pavements and building entrances. The scene left parts of the town temporarily inaccessible. Schools and daily routines were disrupted by the event. Parents and children faced difficulties commuting. Community centers offered assistance where needed. People supported each other during the aftermath. Weather experts linked the event to unstable summer conditions. Catalonia has experienced similar sudden storms in recent years. Such weather can bring heavy rainfall in a short span. Authorities emphasized the need for ongoing preparedness. Once the storm ended, residents began assessing the damage. Hail was cleared from doorways and sidewalks. Water slowly drained away from the main streets. The town focused on recovery and normal operations. The storm in La Ciudad d'Urgell highlighted growing weather challenges. Communities across Catalonia are adapting to unpredictable events. Preparedness and quick response reduced further risks. The focus now turns to prevention and resilience for the future.